What is the worst thing to happen in the UFC in 2024? 2024 is coming to a close, and we've had a lot of great moments, but we've also had a lot of awful moments. So today, we're going to be taking a look and counting down our top 10 worst moments in the UFC.
Let's get into it, Lucas. What is your number 10 worst moment of the year in 2024?
My number 10 moment has to be Wang Kong getting submitted by a nobody at UFC Macau. This might be a little bit of recency bias because UFC Macau just happened a couple weeks ago, but it was very sad to see her piecing up Gabriella
Something like that.
Yeah, something. I can't remember what WMMA. It was very sad. She was piecing her up. I was like, oh, another free win for Wang Kong. She's just building her stardom, becoming the GOAT of WMMA. And then out of nowhere, she got head kicked, decided, nah, I don't need to recover, and then got submitted.
That one hurts. I feel like I had a lot of recency bias with like my short list. So like most of my honorable mentions are like recent just because they were like fresh off the dome kind of thing. All right. My number 10 worst moment. Stipe Miocic not getting a retirement package video after his retirement. Like his retirement, the heavyweight GOAT, top 10-ish fighter of all time, just like retires but doesn't get any video, no send-off, no interview with Joe.
Yeah.
So weird. Like everyone knew that Stipe was going to retire. Yeah. Like, how do you not have a video ready? How do you not have time to go and talk to this guy? They're just too ready to go and glaze John Jones. Like, just send off the heavyweight GOAT into the sunset with nothing.
Well, I mean, Stipe Miocic is good, but he's no Carla Esparza, you know? Carla Esparza, she deserves a video package when she retires.
Like, Joe Rogan even went and talked to Anthony Smith. Like, go talk to Stipe. Just ask him, ask him these questions.
He doesn't really speak English, though. He just kind of, he just mumbles. It's so weird.
I don't know. It just felt weird to not have something for him.
Disrespect for the heavyweight GOAT. Even though we disrespect him on this channel, we still love him. All right, let's move on to number 9 pick. I'll start off with my number 9 pick. Volk getting KO'd by Topuria at UFC 298.
I'm surprised that's not higher for you. Volk's your guy.
Volk is my guy, but I think I even picked Topuria in that fight, and I love Topuria now. He's such a GOAT. So it wasn't like the most detrimental thing to happen. First of all, because I like both of them, and second of all, because Topuria was good for the division. He's a more exciting fighter than Volk. Volk wasn't boring by any means, but Topuria is just that much more exciting. It's fresh blood. It's new matchups in the division. And then we got to see that Holloway fight. So
that's true. I still remember all of our reactions watching Volk get KO'd.
It was silent, dude.
I feel like there was a slight scream.
There was. And then we just sat in silence for a little while. It was weird.
All right. My number 9, Khamzat Chimaev sends Robert Whittaker to the dentist.
All right, buddy. I've heard enough out of you. Yeah, that's a tough moment.
Like, even though I'm not the biggest Rob fan, like I was definitely in favor of Khamzat. Like, just like the brutality of that submission, like the way that you could, like, it actually hurt him. Like, it hurt him. Like, usually a submission they're able to tap before it hurts him. No, like it got him
instantly.
Yeah,
as soon as it was on the face crank just
like like this. Khamzat is unreal.
So strong. Yeah, his forearms are just steel.
Quinn forearm.
My number 8 pick is also Whittaker getting absolutely effed by Chimaev and destroying his jaw. Yeah, I mean we've talked about it in the last pick, but I was really believing in Whittaker, and that's the reason why it's above the Volk pick for me, is because I'm much more of a Whittaker fan than a Khamzat fan. Or I was. Now I don't know how to feel. So I was really on the Whittaker hype train, and I was really nervous as well before this fight. And I was like, as long as he can make it out of one round, like, that's respectable. And he couldn't.
Fair enough. My number 8, Joker meets her Batman. Wang Kong getting submitted by that nobody. Oh,
you're writing comic books over here.
Honestly, yeah. Gotta have some fun once in a while. Like, I was so high on Wang Kong. I was like, she's the future of women's MMA. She still could be realistically, some people lose early. Islam lost early in his career. People lose early. Not everyone's could be, but just a little bit discouraging from that horrid ground game.
Yeah. Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway.
Yeah.
She could be the GOAT.
She could. She's still one of my guys. Still one of my dogs.
And that's fair.
Stop whatever you're doing right now. 2024 is coming to a close, which means it's time for the 2024 Dodson's Corner Award Show. You guys, as the fans, are going to get to vote alongside us, Dodson's Corner, to cast our votes for awards such as Fighter of the Year, Pay-Per-View of the Year, and Fight of the Year, and so much more. So go and click the link in the description and in our bio to cast your votes, because our award show will be December 31st.
Woo! Let's move on to number 7. I have Kron Gracie guard pulling on the main card of a pay-per-view in 2024. Now, you might ask, how is this higher than Volk getting KO'd and Whitaker getting destroyed? You know what? It's just vibes at this point. It was like the anger in me watching the UFC 310 main card. It really just pissed me off having that type of a performance when Dana's all about putting people on the main card who are exciting. Like, we've seen this all throughout the year in 2024, where he puts unranked people on the main card above ranked people who are on the prelims. And that's fine. It's never really fine, but it's fine in the sense that if it's a light heavyweight striking matchup compared to a flyweight guard pull session, then I'm fine with that. And the casuals are fine with that. But when it's Kron Gracie versus Bryce Mitchell, primarily 2 grapplers over Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev.
I think that, sorry to butt in here, but I think even more so than Movsar versus Sterling, because everyone knew that fight was going to be boring, Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes definitely could have been on that main card instead of grappler, central, and jiu-jitsu. Farm jitsu versus jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of fights that could have been on the main card instead of this. And seeing Kron Gracie like actually just jump into guard, it was disgusting. In a UFC match, it was disgusting. I was happy that Bryce Mitchell got that KO in the end. So,
all right, my number 7 worst moment. Mario Batista smears Jose Aldo like a fly against the cage for 15 minutes.
That's low.
Because it's not like it was like it was a crappy moment, but like I feel like there was worse moments, you know.
Okay.
And there was some good from it, you know. All the
Batista.
There was some good from it, like all the Batista memes, just like hating on him. But like, I feel like in terms of like impact in the UFC, everything else above it had probably a bigger impact on the UFC.
See, this is why I like doing these videos where we have separate rankings, because we have like, even though we watch the same fights, we have way different opinions on what we think is the worst thing to happen.
That's what makes us unique. So go and subscribe.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to number 6. I have Dustin Poirier's last chance at getting gold in front of his daughter, and he gets submitted in the 5th round. Almost goes to sleep as well.
I mean, I don't know if that was a worse moment.
It was just sad, you know. It was sad for me. Dustin Poirier. I remember like that in ahead of UFC 302. All my Instagram was just
shine bright like a diamond.
It was just Rihanna.
Yeah. And then that black guy.
It made me actually believe in a chance that Diamond Poirier wins the belt. So I think just the fact that we know for sure that it's going to be Dustin's last chance, I think I have to put some respect on that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it wasn't an awful moment.
No.
Because Islam's sick. So.
Yeah. All right, my number 6 pick, just the whole McGregor situation. That's all I really need to say. I didn't want to put it any higher just because like I feel like it didn't impact directly the UFC as much, but it put like a crappy coat of paint over the UFC as a house.
You truly are a wordsmith.
Yeah, I try. So yeah, that's my number 6. I feel like that's enough said because I don't think YouTube likes us talking about that stuff.
No, the comments doesn't like us talking about that stuff. Report.
Snowflakes.
Exactly.
I'll McGregor you. Please cut that.
I have to leave that in. I'm sorry. I have to leave that in. All right, we're into the top 5 now. Starting off my top 5, I have the new gloves being horrible and probably robbing us of some of the KOs this year.
That's a good show. They were bad. Like, so glad that they moved back. I didn't think about the gloves.
Short lifespan on those gloves, which is good.
302 to 3 before 309.
I was very surprised at how fast they got rid of them. Like, it was just an instant decision. Yeah. Like, it was no talk. And Dana must have been on Twitter scrolling, and he's like, wait, are these stats real? He's like, this is why the UFC sucks in 2024? And then he got rid of them. So fair play.
We could have seen some highlight KOs.
We could have, yeah. But I think, like, going back in the year, we still had Prayer fighting with those gloves. We had Taporia fighting with those gloves. So the people who get KOs, they still get KOs.
All right, my number 5, one that you mentioned quite a bit earlier, Volk gets KO'd by Ilia Topuria.
That's valid.
Yeah, you know, I think that's the good spot for it. You know, it's a moment where we saw old man Volk get KO'd by the next generation.
Yeah, it's a passing of the guard.
Passing of the torch. Passing of the guard. Kron Gracie, never heard of that one.
Can't pass his guard. All right, let's move on to number 4. I have something that could arguably be higher, but John Jones not retiring after UFC 309, and then because of that, stalling the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Because like at this point, he could just be trolling Tom Aspinall and ruining his prime of his career.
Honestly, that's something John Jones would do.
Yeah, as shitty as that sounds, like he could retire after UFC 309. He decided, no, maybe I'll fight again. Didn't announce anything for sure. Going into negotiations with the UFC, and now he probably has a decision in his mind. He knows if he's going to fight or not, and he probably knows what the UFC is willing to offer him in terms of money. So now Tom could have fought in probably twice more in the time of 304 to whenever he fights again.
Well, and I think also with this situation is that like Tom's probably not too eager to go and defend an interim belt because it doesn't do anything for his resume.
Exactly.
Those don't count as title defenses.
Yeah, like I'm sure he's happy to get back in the ring.
Yeah, he'll go fight Cyril Gane after what he saw against Volkov.
Well, Cyril Gane is going to have to recover from those 5 broken toes on his foot. So that's what I think like could actually happen, because Dana said that he's going to take care of Volkov. If Cyril Gane's injured, why wait?
Yeah, I mean, but why would Tom want to fight that fight? You know, it's
Volkov?
It doesn't do anything for him.
Dude, free title. Well, like if John Jones retires.
Yeah, if Tom was champion, 100%, he's taking these fights every 4 months. He's fighting 3 times a year as a heavyweight.
It only lasts 1 minute each.
Yeah, just knocking out bums left and right.
Exactly. What's your number 4 pick?
The lay and pray takeover. Just mostly talking about like Merab and Bilal and guys like Movsar. Just the guys that are just, even you can put Mario Batista, just the guys that aren't out there actively grappling and wrestling and are just trying to win a fight by control time. I think that it just really, for the casual viewers, like they don't want to watch that. You know, like at 310, we were there with like a bigger group of guys and there were some people who had hardly watched any UFC and they're like, They have no desire to watch that. The casual fan does not want to watch 15 minutes or even 25 minutes, which would be even worse, of just nothing happening. They want to see people throwing strikes. If you can have the good mix, if you can have active grappling and striking, no one's going to complain about that. But when you have guys like Merab and Bilal who are just trying to control time it up, it's just like... No one, the casual fan doesn't want to see that. And even the hardcore people who are watching every single fight of a card, they don't want to see that. They want to see striking. You know what? And like, it's bound to happen. Like, sure, do it for a round, but 25 minutes of it, nobody wants to watch that.
That's a generational rant right there. Comments are going to, well, we'll see what
it's
the comments
say. It's not boring.
say.
You just don't like UFC. Shut up.
Watch kickboxing.
You remember what I said earlier?
Watch kickboxing instead. That's what they'll say. All right, let's move on to number 3. We got the podium positions now. At number 3, I have McGregor pulling out of UFC 303 plus his whole downfall. For us, it was a very sad day because we had a whole event planned around McGregor's comeback. Even though it wasn't a title fight or anything, it was exciting to see him fight again live. And it didn't happen, even though we got a banger fight because of it. That the rest of the card, when I was looking back at the pay-per-views of 2024, I was like, damn, some of these pay-per-views were garbage.
Can I just quickly mention my number 3? My number 3 is just UFC 303 as a whole. Everything around it, the McGregor stuff, just all the crap that went on. The
Brian Ortega
pullout. Like, that card was junk. And like just like the mess that it was, how many times the co-main event got rebooked because Jamal Hill didn't want to fight anymore, and then Khalil Roundtree got popped for PD,
and then Carlos Ulberg,
and
then
it was just such a mess.
Yeah, not a great time for the UFC. Dana was pulling his hairs out metaphorically. All right, let's move on to second position then. I have the combination of the co-main and main event at UFC 306 Fear Noche Riyadh season. Ooh. Put the respect on the full name of that card. Yeah, it was one of the most disappointing main events of the year, I would say, because let's go through them. You have 310, which was good. Pantoja got a finish. Kai Sakura landed a big knee. It wasn't the best fight, but it was exciting. And then you have even like 302, you have Makhachev versus Poirier, super competitive fight. 301, Urseg versus Pantoja, super competitive fight. So we've had a lot of good main events that have saved the rest of the pay-per-view, or at least the main card of a pay-per-view. But in my opinion, 306 was the worst co-main and main event in a long time.
By far.
Yeah, Alexa Grasso versus Shevchenko was just, you could sleep.
Well, I think the only thing you can really compare it to is like 307 with those 2 women's fights on the card, and they were both stinkers.
Yeah.
But like then you had Pereira versus Roundtree, which kind of saved that
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And before that, you had Buckley versus
Thompson,
which was good. And like, that's not saying that the whole UFC 306 card was not good.
Because the rest of it was really good.
It was so good, and you'd never heard of any of the guys.
Exactly.
But the top 2 fights, both the title fights, were stinkers.
Bad taste in the mouth. And that's where all the clips come from.
Yeah.
Right? It's the top 2 fights. So
that's what people are watching.
Yeah.
You know, people will come just to watch the main event.
What's your number 2 spot?
My boy, Bless Max Holloway, gets KO'd by Ilia Topuria.
Oh, man. Sad day for you.
Oh, it hurt.
I was happy because you were clowning on me for Whitaker getting first round submitted, and then my revenge came in the main event and hit even harder.
Yeah, and I didn't like it that you got it right too with round 3 KO too. You were so happy about that. Like,
I was hyped.
Like, I'm just sitting there like full of pain, and then this guy's over his shoulder. Yes, like freaking out.
That's what you did for Whitaker. Yeah.
Oh, I think I did. I think it was like directly towards you, just clowning on
it
you.
was.
Because you and Matt were also Matt the editor. Shout out Matt the editor of the reels and the shorts. But you guys are both wearing your Whitaker brand new T-shirts, and I just got to clown on you guys.
That was my worst day. my worst hour. And I'm also getting pretty good at predicting main events specifically because I had Pantoja round 2 submission in 310.
Follow this guy's main event.
I'm goated like that.
All right, before we get into the number 1, let's go over some honorable mentions.
Well, I think one of my honorable mentions might be your number 1, if I'm going to be honest. I haven't looked, but...
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
All right.
So... I'll go through all of mine.
Okay.
Just real quick. So my honorable mentions are Dricus beating Strickland.
Yeah.
Because, like, it wasn't bad because it's not like Strickland got robbed or anything, in my opinion. But, yeah, and Dricus has had great titles.
Yeah, it was just a close fight. And, yeah, it didn't cement Dricus as his dominant champion right off the bat.
Yeah.
You know, we had to wait until he went and beat Izzy.
Yeah, so it wasn't quite as bad.
And then him submitting Izzy is, like, an honorable mention for me.
Okay. And then I have every Apex main card.
Honestly, put that 1.
And then I have Tatsuro Taira losing to Royval because, yeah, I love Tatsuro Taira, man.
Yeah.
All the Japanese fighters.
He was here to save us.
He was. Shara Magomedov getting ranked. That's an honorable mention. Steve Ursay getting KO'd by Kaikar France. Also pretty sad. And then last one, I have Joaquin Buckley KOing Stephen Thompson because I don't like Joaquin Buckley.
All right, my honorable mentions really quickly. Shara Bullock gets ranked.
Okay.
Gone versus Volkov robbery. That's just like fresh off the mind.
100%.
Ferguson's lost to Chiesa.
Fair.
Anthony Smith lost to Reyes. Just like the way that like that whole like the stuff that came out after about it, it's just so sad. Like I was trying to explain it to my dad yesterday, and he was just like, they gotta do like mental check-ins on these guys before. Like he was clearly in no place to fight. Like he was just not in a great spot. And then my last one, I found it hard to like fit this in as a moment or like something that happened in the UFC, so I just kept it as an honorable mention. The judging in 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough said. You don't need to say anything anymore. We've had awful judging. Also, the person who judged Gone versus Volkov and
was a woman.
Yes, that's not where I was going. Her name's Adelaide Bird, and she was on historically one of the worst boxing scorecards of all time. And she's still judging today.
Oh.
So.
And she's a woman.
Number 1, I will start us off. It's something you've already mentioned. I can't believe how low you had it. It was the most infuriating thing in the UFC in 2024, in my opinion, and it created some of the best memes. I have Mario Batista brutalizing Jose Aldo against the cage at UFC 307 and robbing the GOAT. I hate him, dude. His face is genuinely shaped like it's the worst, dude. His Dorito head triangle looking ass. I hate him so much.
I'm so glad you're so passionate.
What's your number 1 pick?
Jones ducking Aspinall. That whole situation, it just tarnishes the UFC, that whole situation. And then you get the crap fight between him and Stipe. That fight was crap. And then you have Tom going out and beating Curtis Blades in 2 minutes. And it's just like, these guys need to fight. And if you're not going to fight the interim champion because you're just ruining his career, then go and retire.
Yeah.
Go get that PFL money.
Yeah, exactly. Go to PFL, fight Francis, get chinned.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting fight. But, man, if he fought Francis instead of Tom, Tom might lose his mind. He might quit.
No more Mr. Nice Guy, Tom Aspinall.
Exactly.
Mythical fighter.
What would it take? All right, that does it for our top 10 list plus honorable mentions. Let us know if we missed anything massive. I'm sure we did. It was really difficult to go back and remember every single fight night and every single moment and every single press conference. Like I did a lot of research on this, and these were the top moments for me.
Yeah, and even like while we're going through it, I'm like, oh, that could have been there. And yeah, forgetting the new gloves. Like, but
all right.
We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.